Now, I'm not exactly sure what species these little guys are. I'm not sure if they're edible. I think that they're a type of russula. I'm pretty sure they're a russula. They're really pretty. Look at that. Huh? How beautiful is that? It's like the sun. And I can tell you right now, if someone was to inadvertently eat this thinking it was an edible mushroom, they'd have some issues. I mean, it wouldn't kill them, but they would definitely be feeling the effects of the active components in this. You can see the beautiful gills. Just awesome. Fish. Or stick. Did you see the size of that pickerel?
Yeah.
Did you get that on film?
I think so. I don't know. The hook got me.
Wow, that is a big perch. Look at that. That is a big yellow perch. Holy crap. Look at the size of that. Wow. Let me see if I can get a hold of her without her driving spines into me. That is a beauty. Whew. Alright, we're going to let her go.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. That is a big perch. Boy, look at the, she's got her dorsal fin right up. There he goes. This is really cool. This is what's called a slime mold. They're kind of a weird critter. They're not really a fungus, but they're grouped in with the fungus, so people that are mycologists study them. They actually start off as a spore, and then it's like a little amoeba creature that roams around and eats stuff, and then later on they congregate in mass and they exhibit altruistic behavior because some of the little amoebas will sacrifice themselves to be like the base of the fruiting body, and only a few of the actual organisms get to reproduce. You'll find these a lot in the forest in the fall. This is a beautiful yellow one. Sometimes they're white or pink, and sometimes they'll form a little, I forget what it's called, but it looks like a little, I can't even really tell you what it is. I'll have to find one. It's just this little hard encasement. It almost looks like something that a moth, like a cocoon of an insect would be. Another really cool thing about these guys is, like, if you were to take time lapse, these actually move around as a single organism, even though it's composed of hundreds, perhaps thousands of little individual creatures. So they move around, finding food and devouring food. If you put these in a petri dish, they'll move around. Well, this is something you don't very often find in Maine. It's called a conglomerate. That's not concrete. This was from back in the days of the glacier, so like 10,000 years ago. And this material would have been placed under such great pressure that you can see what looks like gravel. I mean, you can kind of break it apart. Actually, you can't even break this apart at all. But it forms into these nodules. Looks like compacted, cemented together gravel. They're called conglomerates. Pretty cool. But the only place you find these is in the northern part of the state of Maine. Beautiful spot here. There you go. There's actually a nice waterfall further up. Water's pretty low. And let me tell you, it is darn cold. Isn't that water cold, Snowman?
It's awesome.
You can't trust him. He's not quite right in the head. Now, I'm not saying that deep frying your chanterelles in bacon grease is the only way to cook them. As you can see, a pretty good size Amanita, sun-dried. The shaman loved the sun-dried Amanitas. And you can see this thing is just riddled with little diptera, little types of flies that are coming out. I think you can see them floating around. But that's a pretty good size Amanita. It's gone by. You can see it's just falling apart. And you can see it's riddled with insects are burrowing all through it. They love to get in these things and lay their eggs. And then when the babies hatch out, they have a food source. Works out real good for them. I don't know what the mushroom gets out of it, but the flies get a lot out of it. This is Bufo americanus, also known as the American toad, or common toad. It's the only species of toad that we have in the state of Maine. They get quite large, and they're really interesting little critters, and they're nice to have around your garden because they eat a lot of bugs and slugs and stuff. Oh, this is so cool. I stepped in this accidentally with my foot. Wow. A black slime mold. Look at that. That's incredible. I wonder what it smells like. Actually smells really good. It smells kind of sprucey. All right, this is what's referred to as spruce gum, and it's just resinous pitch, and you can tell this is a spruce tree Because if you look at it, spruce trees, if you grab them like this, they tend to hurt a little bit. They're kind of prickly. You'll see the sprills go all the way around the diameter of the twig, where firs are flat and softer. But anyways, this is what they referred to as spruce gum. When I was a kid, my dad used to do a lot of logging. He'd bring this back for us and we would chew it. I mean, it's an acquired taste. It's a bit like chewing turpentine, maybe. Plus it coats your teeth. But it makes your breath smell good. But what this stuff is really good for is to include in your tinder kit. If you have dry tinder and you put some of this in there, this stuff is just like gasoline, which is why I'm chewing it. It'll catch on fire really good. So, and fir will work, but spruce is even better. So if you're in the forest and you need something for a fire starter, add this to your tinder kit. This stuff will also work really well. You can heat it up and melt it down, and if you have like a hole in your boat, or even if you needed to like waterproof your boots in an emergency, you could use this. You could heat it up. It'll get real syrupy. Works really good to waterproof the bottom of a boat or your boots. That's cool. We got a garter snake that looks like it just recently fed on something. Pretty good sized garter snake. How you doing, girl? Doesn't even care that I picked her up. You can see right there where she's eating something. Where she's swelled up. A little frog or something, I would guess. This snake has not picked a very good spot to hide out in the rocks, making up the fireplace, because if we start a fire... No, girl, that is not a very good spot for you. You should come out. Come out here. Want to smell my finger? You're a nice old snake, aren't you? Yeah, you're a good girl. What do you smell? She's smelling the front of the camera. Snakes have a forked tongue which allows them to triangulate stuff they're smelling. And there's a thing in the roof of their mouth called a Jacob's organ, which pretty much just allows them to taste the air, which is really cool. This is a common garter snake. Probably the most common snake that you would encounter in Maine. And in Maine we have no venomous snakes, so you don't have to worry about being bit by something and dying up here. This snake's pretty tame. Ow! Ooh, she struck at me. Ah! Struck at me again. Ow! Ah! Ow! Ow, 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 ow. You're not being a nice snake anymore. Naughty. Naughty. Ah! Ow! Son of a gun. Woo! Ah! Woo! Bit me and then made smelly stuff all over me. Ah! Ow! You evil thing, you. Alright, you know what? We're gonna let this one go. Ah! 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 She bit me again. Whew! Let me tell you, that kind of smarts a little. This thing's like a cobra. Alright, she's calmed down a little bit now. Whoa, she keeps striking at the reflection in the camera. See, the garter snakes will laterally compress their bodies to make themselves look bigger, like this girl is doing right here. She's trying to say, look how big I am. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Alright, I'm going to go put this snake where we won't cook her when we start the fire. Don't you bite me again. Bit me enough. It's enough biting. Whew, wow, you smell bad. Whew. Bad smelling snake. Alright, that's a really awesome garter snake. Very spunky. Yeah, you're a very spunky snake. Oh, smell bad. is a kind of gone by specimen of Pleuris oysterus, also known as the oyster mushroom. This comes in several different varieties. Fact is, in Florida they cultivated a type of this that I believe is almost pink in coloration. This is a good edible. I'm not a big fan of it, but some people are. It's kind of like the chanterelles, and it has a decurrent gill system. You can see the gills go all the way down the stipe. The stipe is reduced. Like I said, this is highly variable. It's always found on dead or decaying wood, and oftentimes you'll find huge amounts of it, like you can fill a 5-gallon bucket full of it. But if you can identify this, this is a good edible, good safe edible for you to harvest. Now you might be able to tell there's a lot of flies on this. You probably can't see down below here, but there was a iridescent green rove beetle. The beetles love these things. This is what it looks like before. This is a button. Well, it's a little bit past actually what would be called a button. This right here will open up. You can see that the what's called the universal veil right here is still closed. Oh, mushrooms are so darn cool. When this mushroom comes out, like this thing is, the mycelium is infused throughout the ground here, and like I said before, it forms a symbiotic relationship with certain evergreen trees and birch trees. This does is the mycelium forms what's called a mantle around the root of these trees, and it helps them regulate moisture. So when it's really dry in the summertime, the mycelium from these mushrooms provides moisture to the trees, and the trees in return provide certain nutrients to these mushrooms. When they're in the ground, like we just had a thunderstorm last night, these things will sprout overnight. They just swell up. They're kind of like a chicken and an egg. They're kind of hidden into the ground, and they're just waiting, and they're just vibrating, ready to burst loose the instant that it rains. This is some remains of the universal veil. The purpose of this veil, you can see this one right here hasn't opened up yet, is to protect the spores of the mushroom. If you look inside here, I'm going to show you the hymenium layer, which is a fancy term for these gills. You can see those gills in there. So it just protects it until the mushroom is ready to pop out its spores. Now like this one right here, see a slug's eating it? See how beautiful that is? It's just a beautiful design. But this is releasing millions and millions of spores into the environment. Fantastic critters. They really are. Something else. Oh, little baby robin. That's a little baby robin, I'd say, that just got out of the nest. I didn't want to run over him with the truck, but I think he can fly well enough to take care of himself. All right, for all you budding young mycologists, this is the score right here. These are chanterelle cinnabar, or something thereabouts. My Latin's not perfect. But you can see they have decurrent gills. It goes down the stipe quite a bit. They're this beautiful egg yolk yellow. And you'll notice that unlike the woolly chanterelles, these are kind of flat or slightly depressed on the top. And if you open them up, notice they have this beautiful creamy white fibrous, slightly fibrous interior. They have a nice consistency to them. These are choice edibles. They're absolutely delicious, no matter what you do with them, how you cook them. You can also dry these and then rehydrate them in the wintertime with a little bit of water, so you can dry them and they store really well. We're gonna harvest these and eat them for supper tonight. These are, I think, white Admirals. And this is a behavior called puddling. They usually do this on feces of some sort, pick up mineral salts, because primarily butterflies consume nectar. They're not usually carnivorous. Coyote scat, maybe? Could be a small bear scat. Right in this one little spot. This is a type of russula. Some of the russulas are edible. There's a huge variety of them, and some of them will make you sick. I don't really mess with the russulas very much. They have a thing called spirochetes or spear or something. Their cell structure is very brittle, so you can tell they're russulas because they break up. But right where I found the russula, look right here, there's some nice little bolettes. I'm gonna guess these might be bitter bolettes. You can tell it's a bolette, sponge mushroom, because the hymenium layer is all spongy. No, see, that's a good one to eat. Any of the bolettes that I've run across that look like king bolettes that are not bitter, there's a type like this is called a bitter bolette, and boy, you'll know it, because when you put your tongue on it, it's like you've been maced. But these are also choice edible, if you can get them before the slugs get their hands on them. Here's a really nice one right here. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that beautiful tan color. Just got the nicest coloration underneath. Usually before I cook them, I'll strip off that hymenium layer. Here, maybe I can show you guys. Kind of comes off kind of easily. Well, I say that. I guess this one isn't. Oh, here we go. So you can just pull off the hymenium layer. Ugh, Kind of looks like that. You want to check, make sure that they're not riddled with the... See, this one would be, well, you can kind of see a little bit of insect. I suppose it depends on how much protein you want in with your mushrooms. If you don't have an aversion to eating bugs, you can eat them with the bugs in them. The bugs probably aren't going to hurt you, but most people don't want bugs in their mushrooms. This is really interesting. This is some type of scarab beetle, Coleoptera. Order Coleoptera, and family would be Scarabidae, which I just found in a dried up version, of the Amanita Muscaria. I wasn't aware these guys would eat Muscaria, but a lot of them do. And a lot of them will lay eggs in them. You'll find a lot of Diptera and Coleoptera larvae in the mushrooms, including the Muscaria. So it's just a really cool little scarab beetle. Related to the June bugs. June bugs are in the family Scarabidae too, scarab beetles, like you hear about in Egypt, in the mummy that ate the people. While I don't see any on this guy, a lot of these guys will have little mites on them that actually have a symbiotic relationship with the beetle. They'll hitchhike on the beetle when the beetle flies someplace. But I don't think this guy has any. You very often see them on carrion beetles, burrowing beetles. They have them a lot. Well, just driving down the road, we came upon these. These are fully mature. Look at that. Is that not a beautiful mushroom? I would recommend these as probably the safest mushroom for a beginner to learn. Study up on these, look at photographs, go to Tom's Vokes fungus page, key these out, and harvest these. You can dry them. They're fantastic. They taste like regular mushrooms, just way more flavorful. And as you can tell, when you actually come upon a spot that's got a few of them, just a whole pile of them, they're really nice and meaty. Absolutely delicious, out in the middle of no place. And as you can see right here, we have an Amanita Muscaria famosa. Famosa refers to the yellow coloration. Amanita Muscaria. Muscaria is what you guys find mostly over in Europe. It has the red coloration. And you can also get some Muscaria on the west coast of the United States, out in Oregon, California, and Washington State will have the red variety of these. Now, as far as I know, the active components in both of these is about the same, although there are people that claim that Amanita muscaria, the red variety, have higher concentrations of muscimol and ibotenic acid. I can't confirm or deny this. I don't have any reference material, but I can tell you that these guys do have the active components, and they're just beautiful mushrooms. And a lot of people believe that these were the mushrooms of SOMA from the Rig Vedas. You guys can discuss that with you, believe it or not. Okay, we're gonna move on, see what else we can find. I'm going to show you guys a special treat that Snowman just found. His Snowman, he's journeying with me, assisting me today. But you see this right here? This is Mariola virginiana, or some derivative thereof. This is what the top part of it looks like. I don't know how well you guys, that's better. This common name is known as Indian cucumber. These things are absolutely delicious. They're very sweet and they have quite a bit of moisture in them. Find them in mature, mixed growth forests in northern areas. I haven't found these in southern parts of Maine, but you get anywhere up in the northern parts of Maine and you'll find these. And this right here, I've seen them probably 4 times that size. So this size right here. Some people like to clean the dirt off them, but you can see it's nice and white and oh, fantastically good. Wow. It's kind of got a little bit of a cucumber taste to it and kind of sweet. Oh, if I find a patch of these, I'll sit right down and just root through them and eat them until I run out of time and have to go somewhere. They're really, really good.